This episode is sponsored by the lovely people over at Airbnb. Are you celebrating love this month? Book an Airbnb for you and your boo and watch the sparks fly. Now, let's start the show. I remember when I was at your show, we got to talk about 2023. And when I came to the show and we shut it down.
Can we talk about when you came to the show? I love touring. Like, that is the one thing that's the most important part. But the only reason why I hate it now is because I don't get time with my kids.
That's what we are, trying so hard to find.
The question you should ask is, was it with tongue, see?
Usher, that's not true.
I know, I'm
no
just
way.
saying. Please tell them that.
All right, now, y'all. My guest today is one of the most successful pop artists of all time. Some might even say the heir to the king of pop. And I might agree. He's been serving us hits since the 90s, blending R&B, hip-hop, smooth vocals, and even smoother dance moves. I mean, you know the classics like 2001's You Run Like Me. Come on, yeah, yeah, with Lil Jon and Ludacris. But, baby, he did not stop there. With 8 Grammy Awards, 18 Billboard Music Awards, and 9 Soul Train Music Awards under his belt, he is still out here proving why he's one of the greatest to ever do it. Usher! Welcome to the show, man.
What an amazing introduction, man.
I mean, it's all facts. It's what you've done.
You make it seem so easy, though. You made me feel like I could do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I could do a podcast. I don't know if people would even want to watch podcasts with me.
Well, we got the Last Showman, with the Audible. So I'm going to be listening to that and hearing about all the confessions.
Well, I'm just getting warmed up. I mean, I did my Audibles and, you know what I mean? Just, trying to figure out how this new space works with creativity. I'm so accustomed to being on the stage and, having that connection between artists. We come from a different time, right? When I first started, I was 16 years old.
Yeah. And I mean, with the showman, I think that word rings so true. I love the title that you chose for the Audible, because when I think about when you started 16, that's when that showmanship was really, I feel like, at its height. Like, what was your training like at 16 to get to being who you are on stage today?
By the way, that was a standard for all artists. And there was a major, kind of focus on artist development. Sure, it could have come from the, Motown era, but L.A. Reid and the people who were working on artists from that time, or we were inspired by, if you think about like New Edition, so like Brooke Payne and those people who really put the time in to a live performance. And by the way, it was about not just selling music, because the likely chance that you would sell millions and millions of albums weren't the reason why you were doing it. You were doing it to impress an audience, to be able to come to a town and, play a venue and people come back to see you time and time again. And hopefully you grow a career where you go from nightclubs to eventually bigger venues and keep going upward. But to make certain that part of who you were as an artist, was locked in, was important. And it would help you in many ways, because you had to do videos, you had to do visuals. Yeah. You had to, have this certain etiquette to be able to do interviews and represent the brand of that company and yourself well. Back then, unfortunately, it was more like work for hires. So you were, as an artist, were assigned to a deal, and all depending on how you perform would determine how much leverage you even have in it.
Kind of like MGM, Marilyn Monroe, the Vav.
Yeah. So you were being developed throughout the process, but there was some sort of artist development that started it all off. And if you wanted to live up to the standard of the artist that you were either underneath on those major labels, if you think about the majors, right? You're like, okay, well, maybe one day I'll be as big as, Michael Jackson if I'm in the same Sony system, or I'll be as big as, Babyface if I'm signed to his label. I'll be as
I love
major.
What you're talking about with this, because I don't think a lot of people always realize the corporate elements that also exist in entertainment industry, just like any other industry.
Well, that's because corporate now is playing a less significant part in it, and now you have independence, which is good, but I think that something suffers in it. Yeah. I think that artist development happens in a different way. I ain't gonna discredit the fact that, you can still, garner a lot of attention and get people really excited about what you do, and people come see you perform, but what do you offer them when they're there that actually reminds you of what this is really about? It's about your vocal ability. It's about your being able to shock people and dance or perform and put together an entire, memorable moment of choreography, especially if that's who you are on videos, right? When they come to see you live, you should have that plus some, right?
And it's so interesting because I feel like every artist doesn't even know or want to do the tour thing. You know, that's so funny, the clip of Michael Jackson where it's like, how do you feel about tour? And he's like, I hate tour. And they're like, we're filming, and he's like, I love tour. It's like this little funny gift that they do.
He's telling the truth.
Right. So tell me about that love and hate relationship where it's, this is what I have to do, but what makes touring also so difficult and something that you knew you wanted to do as an artist? Because you started as young as 16.
By the way, I don't think any of us outside of like, you know, those who, the Silvers and people like that, are the DeBarge family, those people who started super young can even relate to what Michael was talking about. I understand when he says, I hate touring. 9 times out of 10, because his entire life has been touring and has been being that and being ready, right?
Yes.
For me, it's a bit different, but I felt that it was part of what I signed up for when I decided. How would you say it's different?
Because it was your choice, you feel? Or?
Well, it's different in terms of whether I love or hate it. I have never hated touring. I love touring. Like, that is the one thing that's the most important part to me. But the only reason why I hate it now is because I don't get time with my kids. So the sacrifice that I have to make to not be there for them, whether they know it, I would rather, you know, be able to have real permissive parenting where I can wake up every morning and have breakfast with my kids, take them to school, check on them, you know what I'm saying, after school, and be able to try and have some sense of normalcy. Because great parenting hopefully allows your kids to grow up and understand what it is to work for something. If you're not there to instill it, then it's a bit complicated. So I hate that I don't get a chance to have that part. I love being able to perform. That's the most important thing that I said I would do when I didn't have kids. Moment I had kids, it's like, yeah, I don't really like being out there all the time. So I try to make the most of it when I do it.
You definitely make the most of it. One thing, I would love to talk a little bit about some of your inspirations, because aside from Michael, I know there's Fred Astaire, there's so many different elements that you bring to stage. I remember when I was at your show, we got to talk about 2023. And when I came to the show and we shut it down.
Can we talk about when you came to the show? I mean, when you literally shut down the whole world for 2 seconds?
That was absolutely insane. But I will be honest, my reaction was 100% purely based off of me being a fan of yours for years. People don't even know also I auditioned for In the Mix.
They don't know.
They didn't give me the part. Why would Usher, I auditioned, we got far to the chemistry read. And I remember honestly being speechless. I feel like maybe my audition wasn't good because as soon as I walked in.
No, stop. Your audition was absolutely incredible. And I have to tell you, though it's been forever, and if you want to go back and check out the movie and see it, you can, In the Mix. But you actually did phenomenal. I just felt like you might have been a little bit too old.
And that's what they told me.
Yeah.
They told me that.
But by the way, it wasn't my last decision, but I gave my opinion. But I really did feel like you did an amazing job. But I can't win them all.
Well, now we got to I'm writing the next movie.
Well,
we got to do a movie together.
We should do something.
Come on.
Other than just drive everybody crazy.
Yeah, so wait, let's get to that. So I remember being at the show, and this was my first time being at your concert. But I got to tell you, man, all my life, I was one of those people where it's like, I know that Usher's a guy, he's for the guys, but like, I want to be Usher. I got to think about you coming down the stairs. All your videos were so theatrical. You wasn't just, like, we got the character of Usher, where it's like, oh, don't leave your girl around me. Like, it was giving storyline. Yeah. And I love that because I think for me, not having the proper support as an artist in the music industry, I was always trying to figure out, how did people tell their story? How do I incorporate the storyline of who I am to my audience through my music? And so I used to study a lot of your stuff because you're so great at it.
But that's the brilliance of you as a performer, right? You make the difference. You are actually more like the artists of our time, where you study, where you understood the nuance, where you care about something more than just a fan experience. Like, you really know the moves, you understand the moments, you've looked at the clips, you've looked at the interviews, you've studied what people, what their inspirations were, all of those things. And unfortunately, I don't know if we have enough time to stop and focus on that part, because everybody's trying to be famous themselves, as opposed to, how do I follow the thing that I felt was so great, and how do I have some of those moments, right? How do I have the same moments that I'm looking at from Michael, or I'm looking at from, when I was a kid, it was New Edition. When I'm looking at, these amazing moments that are about vocal ability. When I look at, Whitney Houston, or
oh my gosh, Whitney.
You know what I'm saying? Luther Vandross, and have these incredible vocal moments.
Yes.
Right? if you're accustomed to that, if you're looking at it every day, then you aspire to be that. Things have changed. You know what I'm saying? And I am saying it's changed for the worse, but I do think it's important for people to understand the importance of being a showman. That's why I wanted to put this, the Audibles together. Yeah.
Yes, and those stories that are going to come with that, I think, are going to be not just gaggy, exciting, and cool to hear, but yes, hopefully people are going to be learning as well. Mm-hmm. I remember watching the show and thinking, oh my gosh, this is also musical theater. We have acrobatics and all this craziness with the skating. Then we have the storytelling as we go from each set and what world it puts us into. And then we have all the eras. So my reaction was just like, I can't believe, I haven't seen anybody perform like this in such a long time. Now, obviously, everybody went crazy. We caused some ruckus in my relationship.
We did. Well, hold on. Did we cause some ruckus in our relationship?
We were being showmen.
Hold on. Did I have anything to do with what was going on in your home? Did I send you that dress?
Have you seen the Boondocks episode? Because you've been apparently accused of this for years.
Did I send you the dress? I just want to know that.
Did you expect that reaction? I cannot be
responsible for how people choose to react to my experience as an entertainer. I am not deliberately trying to do anything that's going to rock anybody's home.
This is what you call ushering.
I'm ushering right now. This is what I actually say to myself in the mirror every time I go out there before I hit the stage. I am not here to break up your home. I am here to entertain you, my love. You know what I'm saying? No, but
were you shocked?
No. I was actually, we were having a great time.
I know, it was so fun. It was the coolest. And you always do these amazing, engaging moments with the audience. You did it with Issa, with Taraji. Now you're doing some Cherry stuff. Now that's very rated R. You done added levels to it.
Yeah.
And the girls, we all love it. It's so fun. How many times do you feel, because obviously we did the video after.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about why let's start there then.
Yeah.
What made you after that say, hey, Key, let's do the video? I would love to know your thought process around there because there was so much drama.
I think you and I both can share the sentiment of the moment. Absolutely. Because I know it was a hot moment for you. And I was like, you know what? When life feeds you lemons, you make lemonade. I think that this could be something positive and actually just shine a little bit of fun on it. And allowing us to really do something that I think could be fun is the purpose and point of it. Let's do something that just takes the mind off of it and just have a good time. Don't focus on the drama. By the way, if you focus on the drama, then you're going to always respond to it only. But if you just live your life as an entertainer and understand the purpose of whatever you're creating to service entertainment, then it'll be okay. Now, I don't want to take any responsibility for breaking anybody's home up, but that wasn't the purpose and point. It was for you to have a good time with your girls, come out there and just enjoy. I don't remember the last time that, I had experiences like that or either went to shows like this. I'm always trying to find things that I think are fun. Vegas was intended to be intimate.
And you're being light about it, but the wisdom that you gave me will forever be cherished. Because I don't think people understand also, I'm an entertainer, I'm a performer, this is what I do, but also, I have a life that I don't perform.
Right.
That I have to also live in balance with the people that maybe only know me personally and don't know I'm entertaining. Mm-hmm. That's a big line. And I talk about it a little bit in my book. I quote you haphazardly, but that advice was really helpful to me and stuck with me because, wait a minute, I know I'm an entertainer. The people closest to me that have been with me for the last 20 years that I've done this career know. But the people that are just getting to know me, fall in love with me, and learn how to deal with the persona of who I am and then who I really am to them, that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
All month long, love is in the air. B&B, that is. And I'm about to put you on to the ultimate Valentine's Day tea. Listen up, lovebirds. It's time to ditch the same old dinner date and level up your romance game with a vacation. Now, I've been known to take a lover on a romantic getaway in the past, and Airbnb was always the first place I looked to find private spots perfect for cuddling up. I'm talking tucked away deep in the middle of nowhere chalet, okay? Trust me, nothing says I love you like champagne and strawberries in front of a cabin's fireplace or some Pinot and chocolate in your very own bubble house. Yes. This year, head straight to Airbnb's guest favorites. These spots are the cream of the crop, honey. Cozy cabins, beachfront beauties, and city penthouses that will make your bae's jaw drop. They're top rated for a reason with amenities that'll have you feeling like royalty. Now, don't settle for ordinary this V-Day and every day after. Whether you're dreaming of a scheduled mountain getaway or chic city escape, Airbnb's got you covered. Remember, some trips are better in an Airbnb, especially when love is in the air. Book the perfect spot and get your vacation on. You'll never forget it. Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, so I know y'all caught last night's premiere of The Bachelor, right? Didn't I tell you there'd be a quiz? Look, it's fine, because if you didn't, I'll let you hop on over to Hulu to get caught up. Now that that's out of the way, didn't I tell y'all that man was fine and genuine and kind-hearted and really sweet? And did I mention fine? This is the sort of television that I live for. The romance, the drama, watching all these beautiful people gallivant and covert all over the mansion. My heart's fluttering just thinking about it. Well, grant you Savannah, the blonde bombshell from Virginia, or Kelsey, the gorgeous goddess from Brooklyn, or any of the other beautiful and intelligent women vying for his love. Y'all know I have no horse in this race, but I am locked in. Listen, if there was ever a time for a wine-fueled watch party with the besties, it's Mondays at 8/7 Central, darling. New episodes of The Bachelor air every Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC. And as always, you can choose to stream it on Hulu too. Now, where's my rose? You've worked with a lot of people in your family and relationships, managers, you know what I mean? Your mom was managing your career for years. Those are personal relationships that also have to exist in the persona of Usher.
Yeah.
When did you and how did you learn how to do that?
I don't know that I actually learned how to do it, or it just became kind of an inevitable thing that happened because of my trust for my mother and the fact that she happened to be there when I was inspired to do what I was, and encouraged and supported and paid whatever it was in order for us to start a career. When I got enough attention, then I needed at least guidance. And I think my mother was smart, educated enough to be able to, read through the fine print that she could and find people who could represent me well and do our best to try and position ourselves to have some leverage in building a career, because I was dead set on getting somewhere. But it's a very complicated thing because, what was obviously affected was our relationship.
Yeah.
I never get a chance to talk. Maybe one day I'll talk about it in a book, but it was very difficult to kind of balance a relationship between my mom and me. And by the way, it's only been me and her and my brother. And then, the kind of contrast and generational things that come with all of those things, right? Not being raised with your father and now being this kind of person who's got to carry the torch and be the breadwinner in my mind, whether it was true or not, of my family. It's a lot.
I relate to it so completely and entirely from every aspect that you said.
Yeah.
And the mom and the child and the manager thing, it was so difficult. I mean, I remember when I started just calling my mom Sharon.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like I'm trying my best to find delineating factors from when you are my mom and when you are being my manager, because are you with them or are you with me? And, it becomes so convoluted because you both are working towards the same goal, but who you have to be sometimes to get there.
You still just trying to figure out how to cope with life, let alone try to manage a relationship with someone whom you're going to have natural emotions and have differences with, right?
Yeah.
And there is that contrast where mom knows best or parents knows best. But what if what you're asking for in your mind is very clear? But now it's like, wait a minute, you just crossed the line. But there is no barriers with family. It is what it is. And it's a very complicated situation, which was part of the reason that I elected for our relationship to be, a little bit separated. I would always be supportive of her. She would always be supportive of me. But I wanted my mother because I ain't have her for about 25 plus years.
And when you didn't have her, I'm sure people are like, what do you mean you didn't have her? You were working with her. What would you explain that like? Was it just that you couldn't be anybody outside of the Usher you was on TV? How did, what was the...
No, I just really, you sometimes you don't want your parents to tell you you did the wrong thing. I just want you to love me. I don't need you to remind me of how bad I've made a decision. I know. I need you to hold my hand through it. Can you just be here with me? And that became complicated because some of the moves that I was naturally making were, dangerous for what we had built. But hey, that was my choice. But I really wanted my mother to just hold my hand and be there with me through some of the harder times. But there were times when she couldn't, when she drew hard lines. Because, by the way, this is a single woman, black woman, in a predominantly male industry where she's not respected because she's a businesswoman. She's respected because she's a mother.
That's right.
And then that contrast between a man now and a woman is happening. And I'm like, man, I'm not even calling you mom. I'm calling you by your name.
Yeah.
This is, and probably far worse than that. And now we screaming at each other. And it's like, what in the hell has happened? So before you know it, I had completely lost who I was as her son. And needed to.
How did you find the clarity around that, though? Because when you're so in it, it all becomes what's normal. What was the moment where you're like, oh, wait a minute, I really don't want this? And were you in therapy?
No.
Did you have good friends that was talking to you about it?
Come on, man. We don't believe in therapists. Let's be real. And what access do we have to people? You know what I'm saying? To a therapist, maybe in church, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe, a counselor at school, or maybe a person, that is mentoring you, or maybe elders. But we don't have counselors, people to really help you understand, the dynamic of how the brain functions and how you have to deal with generational trauma. I didn't even know any of those words before I start working with a therapist.
That's right.
So I didn't really have access, or either the understanding to have access, or either, source those types of things that help me communicate. Yeah. It was just, I'm troubleshooting with friends. I'm kind of working out things in real time and like trial and error. And then, the dynamic of, damn, I can't take back what I said now. And now, it's just, you're just a defiant child. No, I'm not. This is the dynamic. So it ain't nothing normal about it. It never becomes normal. And establishing those boundaries and having therapy would have definitely helped me earlier. But again, we don't come from that culture. I'm going to keep it real. Or at least I didn't. I can't say all black people don't, but I didn't. Yeah. Matter of fact,
I didn't either. I brought it to my family. I brought the concept.
Don't you be outside telling my secret, telling them what happened in our family. What? You better keep that shit to yourself. Don't be snitching. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm really over here suffering. I got to deal with some of this shit.
And I hear voices.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. But nah, it's not readily available.
And honestly, you would assume that, after having had that relationship and then saying to yourself, okay, boom, me and my mom, this is going to be my mom, I'm going to be me, that's going to be separate, that you wouldn't necessarily work with family again, but you continue to. I mean, even your wife, Jennifer, she works in the industry.
She works in the industry outside. Okay. She's an executive and works with a multitude of artists. She works with 21 Savage. She works with Mariah the Scientist. She
love
works
Mariah.
with DDG. She works with a ton of artists in the Epic system.
Okay.
But well decorated in terms of the things that she's been associated with, and artists that she's kind of either helped with music.
Yeah.
I definitely rely on her opinion about things. She's an incredible sounding board, and brings calm to some of my madness sometimes.
Yeah.
But if we had to work together, oh my God, it wouldn't work. It would damage our relationship. I would never do that. Matter of fact, we have a policy, if this is a business that you're in, I'm going to help establish and work on it, but it's your business, and then we have the things that we do together, but it's not a mandate, it's a choice.
Yeah.
In relationship. Your things are your things, my things are mine. I have something I'm passionate about. I need your support. I need your help. I want to get counsel. But those kinds of boundaries established, I think hopefully going to, make this a more sustainable relationship. This is my third one.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make certain that I don't take this ring off.
Yeah, I know that's right. Amen. I love that. And I love that it is a balance in that regard because, hey, sometimes it's difficult when the person doesn't know anything about what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think for me, it was always difficult to figure out, do I want to date somebody that's in the industry and that knows what's going on? Or does that not give me enough of a way to be outside of the industry enough? You know how that is as entertainment.
You don't want that.
It's like you don't want the other one.
You don't want that. You don't want somebody who's oblivious.
Really?
Yeah. You want somebody who does understand who you are and knows the dynamic that comes with it, because there's going to be times where it becomes complicated and you're going to need them to get it and create balance. If they're ration.
Doesn't it then feel too Hollywood sometimes?
Well, Hollywood, because I understand who I'm dating and I know what I got myself into before I started. Nah, I think if you want to live that life, you can, but at some point, she or he will feel like, oh, I'm not included. I don't understand. Oh, you know what? You're right. I don't understand. I don't work in your world. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? You want somebody who at least understands.
Have you ever dated somebody out of the industry, or you always dated people that knew, or at least adjacent to the world?
Yeah, no, I mean, other industries, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But not entertainment.
yeah, I mean, yeah. I've dated all types of women. You know what I'm saying?
And so I guess that's how you learned, yeah, that the ones outside in the industry.
No, actually, just from afar. This is just an opinion. You know, I could be wrong. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that what I am saying is the only way to do it.
Right.
It's working so far.
Yeah.
And there's enough of an understanding. She understands my language, and I understand hers. We understand how to hear each other, but more than hearing each other, we know how to listen. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to have space to talk, but to have ears to hear. That is the difference in having successful relationships in life, period. And having someone who comes from the world, or either, you know, the idea of that world and what it takes in terms of dedication and commitment, it actually helps.
Yeah.
It really does help. Yeah.
We're talking about how things were different with the concept of being a showman and artist development. I'm curious, and this is a broad question, but maybe you have an answer of what do you feel is missing, or what is the biggest difference between then and now with artists today coming up?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were just judging, you know, the industry at large, I think that what has happened with independent artists or artists who don't necessarily rely on, you know, companies and have independence is a great thing. But some of these gatekeepers and companies that were, so to speak, gatekeepers of the integrity of entertainment and were curating very specific types of music and types of artists, those artists are sustainable now. Those are the artists that we are motivated by. Those are the artists that we are encouraged by. Who knows what's going to happen in the future as technology is taking over. But as I know and recognize, music, you know, has now put itself in a position where it sells everything but itself. So all of the byproducts and the other ancillaries and things like that, they matter more. That's the business of the business. So it's good. But what I've been missing is that process that you have to go through in order to earn your keep. The fact that even if you have tons of people screaming your name, you still got to perform for them. You still have to show up and make certain that their dollar matters. I am happy that I spent this money, not just because I'm here to sing this hit record, but you really entertained me. You didn't just stand there, you know. And
I feel like there's a level of, I don't want to say detachment, but there's a level of what I'm hearing and what you're saying, which is that, you know what, this is my job and I got a job to do, as opposed to what we feel and experience now, which, hey, maybe it's because times have changed, but there's a lot of emotion in the parasocial relationships where it's like, I'm not just here to entertain you, which again is kind of like, well, with kind of you are, you know? So it's like, I feel like there's this weird thing that's happened in the change of how we connect to our audience, where the artists also want to feel like they're the audience member and the audience member wants to feel like they're the artist. It's like a weird exchange.
well, who knows where that thought arrived from? Did it arrive from the fact that there is no mystique in music or anything else now? So I know everything about you. So the fact that I now feel entitled to say to an audience who's spending their hard-earned money to come here and see you that I don't owe any effort to you, I don't know that that makes sense. But that's just me. But I also, too, know we live in a different time where nothing is private. I know everything about every person that I know. If I want to know something what's going on in your life, I go look at your Instagram or your TikTok or whatever it is in your profile, and I got it. That didn't exist in our time. So we had to earn the audience.
And
we had
I
to earn
feel
the
like-
respect of the audience.
I feel like I came up right in the middle because I feel so much of what you're saying. And I feel like I live and do my career that way most of the time. But also people do end up knowing things that I maybe didn't expect them to know, or it's not what I'm used to, because coming up, there was a little bit more of, hey, wait a minute, I need to give you my best. I don't want to give you no bullshit. And so I often am balancing the, hey, I want to give you my best. I want to be a performer. But also
that all
what
depends
this
on your
means.
ambition.
No, wait, what do you mean by that?
That all depends on your ambition. I want to perform for my audience.
Right.
Okay? I literally care myself, because otherwise, why would I sit and, you know, kind of rehearse over and over and over again, sing this song over and over again, try to protect and, you know, perfect my tone so that when I actually use my voice, it sounds great. I sound like the record that I sold you. That's a personal choice. You know,
Yes.
you got to understand we're just living in a different time. I don't want to seem like a fucking dinosaur. You know what I'm saying?
You're not sounding like that. We're just being comparing and contrasting.
Man, my kids is quick to call me a boomer. That's what I'm saying.
You're not a boomer. You're a millennial.
They will call me a boomer for real. What I'm saying is, talking like this makes them feel that way. So I'm like cautionary when I'm moving in any of these directions.
I'm howling.
But I'm saying like
Yeah,
part of where technology and all of those things are assisting us, it's failing us with the authenticity of what it is to be a live performer.
Yeah.
Because now, if I just kind of turn this auto-tune, I ain't really got to care about really running on a treadmill or either working out and getting my diaphragm in a great place where I can sing, project on key, not flat or sharp, and dance and perform, not be winded, and give you a full show. Those things don't matter as much. So, you know, use the machines. Don't let the machine use you. You know what I'm saying? So that's also part of it. Like, I'm fighting for the human element of entertainment, not just the elements that assist us. Part of the reason I named my tour Past, Present, Future is because I'm finding ways to use both spectrums to find really innovative, creative things to do that brings in an audience that is accustomed to now how we do things, and also to giving them the intimacy that I was raised to create as a live performer. That's what makes me the showman that I am.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
Psst. Let me put y'all on to something hot. Usher is joining Audible's Words and Music series with his new title, The Last Showman. And baby, when I say it's giving everything, I mean everything. Now, I love a behind-the-scenes tell-all, but this is the real deal. Audible is taking us even deeper into the world of the king, the legend, the moment over his storied 30-year career in the entertainment industry. Listening to Usher as he looks back at the history of R&B, the genre that he helped shape, reminds me of the importance of retrospection. And looking back, it is so apparent that Mr. Usher, baby, has always been a showman right from the beginning. Usher takes us track by track through his record-breaking magnum opus, Confessions. Yes, and shares candid stories of scandal, romance, and making music as he evolved from teen sensation to R&B legend. Listen, Confessions had everybody and they mama in their feelings, including me, and y'all don't want to miss this. The Last Showman by Usher is out now. Head to audible.com/Usher and get ready for the ultimate showman to do what he does best. How do you keep the mystique that you have in this day and age? Obviously, it's because we've known you for years. I'm sure just the effect of, hey, I'm Usher, they call me USHER. That's a part of it, right? But times change.
Yeah.
You still have current hits. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're still dope. Even though the times have changed and having mystique as an artist is not necessarily the thing that people do or can do. How have you been able to continue to evolve your storyline?
I think part of it is the inevitable nature of the fact that I can't. And I'm now living in everything that chooses to be seen or either is seen becomes the story.
But you really know how to do it. It's really, I mean, obviously it's probably just your gift, but it's really cool to see.
I don't know, maybe in another 10 years we can talk about it and I really understand what I was doing. I'm just living in it. I'm literally, kind of being as open as I possibly can to new ideas and how things are done versus how things were done. And I'm trying not to be a person who's so conditioned to my past that I'm not considerate of how things have to be done and are inevitably being done. Mystique is something that is good and bad. Like, because what I do struggle with now is the fact that I don't feel comfortable doing these kinds of interviews and talking because I don't really know the nature of where it's going to go. But I fuck with you. So I was like, I'm going to come sit down with you and we're going to have a real conversation. And I'm also, too, going to hopefully, be comfortable enough to be able to be vulnerable and talk about life. And, there's what you see and then there's who I am. And there's, some judgment that comes with that on the other side. But I don't really get concerned about that. I really am. I'm living my life and I'm trying to be a great artist, but greater than that, a good person and a human, right? I'm going to go through flaws, go through ups and downs, and my entire career has kind of showing you that. Whether I was talking about it in music or just living through things. I've had some really, really tough times, and I've not had anybody to talk to about it. I've not had the opportunity to be able to kind of open up. That's why I really was so excited about this Audibles, because it gave me the opportunity to be able to kind of peel the veil back and allow you to look at where I was mentally, what happened with me between 8701 and then making this album that would change my entire life.
Yeah.
Everything changed after that album. I could never go back to the lifestyle that I had before.
What was happening in your life at that time that even allowed you to create that album? Because something really key that you just said was I was not able to, and for many years, not able to talk to anybody. Do you think that even though that sounds difficult and hard, do you think that that's what you were putting into that music? That was your freedom, is the creation of all that stuff? All those different styles, from hip hop to Fred Astaire type stuff to R&B to pop. I mean, you melded so many things.
Right.
Was that as an artist, that was your release?
That's my outlet.
Yeah.
One, people hadn't chosen to be kind of vulnerable, brash, honest, and then take what was happening in their lives and then put it on music. And if they did it in a different way. It was kind of the mending of living in the world of hip hop, but also to being a vocalist, a performer, a consummate professional, trying to figure out how to dance and sing, and then melding, putting those two ideas together and creating. Who knows, man? Part of it could have been a little bit of all of it. But
yeah.
I'm trying my hardest to find the things that I think work best, because I don't have an opportunity to sit down and have these conversations and people care enough. You know what I'm saying? Because there's one thing that I know what the expectation is. Oh yeah, you're going to talk about your thing, you're going to sell your product. That's going to be very transactional.
Yeah.
But to be able to just really sit down and like talk about life in perspective, and people care to listen, because also too, some of it might become like, that ain't relevant to my life. You're not talking about that's relevant to me, so it'll probably go through one ear and out the other.
But I think everybody is trying to figure out how to keep the page turning. So that is like, even if you're not Usher, or you're not an artist, like to stay engaged with life, to keep telling your own personal story, whether you are a lawyer, a nurse, a student, we're all looking for the things that can make us keep on and evolve and be engaged with life.
Well, they say you evolve or you evaporate. 1. 2, chaos always leads to some perspective. Yeah. Whether you choose to live in that chaos, it's up to you. But it is necessity. It is necessary in order to build. As you said, every lawyer wins a case, but then he's got to go pick up another one. Every person has a grand moment, and then they're going to fall again to get back up. Every team can win a championship. They're going to have to start all over next year. So it's like, that is kind of the practice of what music became to me. So I did use it as an outlet to some extent, but no, I still want more. I want to have more opportunities to be able to share, some perspective.
That's what we need. I'm really glad that you was willing to talk to me too. Like, I really appreciate it.
I guess getting to the other side of successful moments allow me to be able to give some perspective. I've lived in my suffering long enough to be able to write about those songs. Imagine being able to make an album where I can talk to you about the other side. I can talk to you about the journey of, I completely went to the bottom of this thing that you were so caught up in, and it was no longer about a superficial feeling. It was about something that mattered. And then I got myself into a better mental state, and then I moved forward, and here's the things that came to me as opposed to me trying to go after it. To be able to share that would be valuable. Who knows? It could be a book, could be another Audible. This one was just celebratory because, this magnum opus, Confessions, was like the one album that, would make the difference in my life.
As a matter of fact, there was one. Oh no, I went to the wrong one.
Yeah.
No. Yo, that's hilarious. Why?
Where the hell you just go, huh?
Yo, that's so funny. But I remember when Confessions came out, and it absolutely changed everything. It was one of those moments where you just like, wait a minute, is this true? This is life. when y'all was creating that, and obviously everybody can check out the Last Showman and really get into it deeper on Audible. But when you were creating that album, did you expect for it to have that feedback? Did you plan how you were going to answer the questions or people were going to ask about what's happening in your life? Like,
No, I didn't. Because it was not strategically about my life only. It was supposed to be about the types of things that we as men deal with and the reality of what happens. So no, I wasn't like, let me gear up. I don't know. I was just like, yo, let's sit around like this, have real conversations about the shit that we deal with. Like, what you dealing with, bruh? Where you at? What you and your old lady going through? All right, this is what I'm going through too, man. Look, this what you get. This what's getting ready to happen. Really? And then that perspective just started to create titles. Like, man, you got it bad. Oh, shit, burn. Oh, it's just started. That's always how that process has been. But making confessions was much deeper because we were talking about real toxic shit. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to make certain that people had a real outlet to not only. Here's another thing I want to say, and I think this is part of the reason I was like, yo, don't fall back, push forward. Here's an opportunity for us to make light of something that people are talking about. Yeah. Like, and then share your actual talent, because you are one talented girl, man, like woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, you got so much talent, show it. And that's when you got that. What this industry has taught me is that when it gets hot, don't run away from it. When it gets hot, run towards it. Don't run away from the fire. Run towards it and actually find the best way to curate it, because they're going to always have something crazy to say anyway. Why don't you just give them something positive to say because you chose to make it a beautiful thing?
But I feel like that is something that I would often struggle with. And that's why when
All people do. And you know, primarily the reason why they do that is because they get caught up in the opinions of other people. And they want the opinions of other people to stop. But it's like, no, you're talking about what made you feel seen too. Because by the way, I ain't the only one that went through it and goes through shit. You going through something too.
And you were right too. Because like for me, like I told you, I was that girl at 15, 16, 17 watching these videos. Mm-hmm. It's my journey as an artist, as a performer, as somebody that looks up to Usher as the person that has literally been giving us amazing, impactful, cultural, global hits for years, says, let's get up here and dance. That's my moment. Mm-hmm. No one gets to take that moment from me. Okay. That's a moment that I worked years to get, from auditioning for In the Mix and not getting a part to starring in that video and getting a chance to show what I could do. Mm-hmm. I could talk to you all day and really get into the tea of this industry. But I'd love to end this wonderful conversation with a game I play with all my guests. Okay, so it's going to be pretty much truth or dare, but a little bit with a confession vibe to it. Okay. So we can either pick truth, which would be confessions, or we can choose dare. I'm going to give us 2 cups, and we're just going to pick from the cups. Okay. This is the truth.
I'm gonna take the truth.
Wow, we got there fast. Okay. Okay, go ahead. I'm excited.
Right. Okay, here we go. Let's get to it.
If they're bad, it was the producers and not me.
Right, okay, here we go. Let me see. Is there any random kind of process of how I should select?
No.
It's just whatever it is. Okay, cool.
You said it's just whatever it is.
Okay. If you could go back in time, is there a project that you've done that you wish you would have passed on?
Oh, interesting. It can't be She's All That. Loved you in that.
Let me see if there's anything I could have passed on. Whew. I don't know that. I'm trying to figure out. I always manage to make them work for me.
I know that's right.
You know, I can say I'm happy that I passed on a couple of them. And I can say I'm actually unhappy that I passed on a couple of them too. But let me see, which ones that
Which one did you pass up that you wish you didn't know, real quick?
Man, I passed up on Dreamgirls.
Ah!
Yeah.
You would have been amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy, man.
What came into your mind?
I mean, a myriad of things. There was one of these contentious moments between me and kind of my agent and my mother, because we were trying to figure out how to manage to make good sense by the way, I don't really like talking about this because it always kind of gets sensitive for people who listen. But you know, part of it was kind of the standard of how, you know, artists and creatives are paid in this town. The other was, hey, I'm in the middle of getting ready to launch a tour, and there's a huge overhead that I carry for all of the people that I'm getting ready to cancel for, the fans, as well as all of the people whom I employ. I just need to be able to have enough in order to offset what I'm getting ready to say no to. I really want to do this, but I need to, I got to cancel an entire tour. So I had to pass.
Dang.
Because we couldn't reach a,
Rick has said something, Rick Famuyiwa has said something similar about you. I think you was auditioned, or you did a great audition for The Wood too. Do you remember this?
yeah.
That would have been, but you know, it's true. The industry does make you choose at times because people got to pay their bills, you know. So it is a thing. But I mean, it would have been crazy to see you in The Wood, and it would have been
Timing
crazy
is everything,
to see you in
though, man.
Dreamgirls.
Both of those were about timing because once again, I didn't have a down season. You said that I've been literally touring forever, right? Until I decided to start having kids and things started slowing down. But I was always either working on a show or working on an album or working on a tour or working on a project, a collaboration. So if I didn't plan ahead and say, okay, this moment is specifically for a movie, and is there a movie available for me in that moment? It just came out like, will you audition? Yes, I'd love to do this. I had everybody calling me. I had Eddie Murphy calling me. I had Beyonce. Everybody was like, oh, you need to really do this movie for me. David Geffen, everybody was like, okay, but here's the dilemma that I have. I got to cancel an entire tour. One, I'm going to disappoint all of my fans in Europe. And also, two, I'm on the track for all of these people that I have to pay. So I need to make certain that I can offset and just pay my people. I know I'm not going to make no money. That's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I really want to be a part of an incredible story. And I regret having passed on that.
But
yeah.
I mean, it happens. I love hearing.
I passed on
the
Cats
business.
too.
Well, that was good.
That was a good one. I respect it, you know what I'm saying? But nah, I was not. We had passed.
Let me pull one out. Okay, so this is for you. What's one song from your discography that you're tired of performing but fans won't let go of? Is there any song that you feel that way about? All your songs are so.
When I'm in Europe, they like me to perform this song called Pop Your Collar.
I don't remember that.
See, that's what I'm saying. See, there's other types of music. I do all different types of shit. You know what I'm saying? But no,
I'm
it's just
howling.
one. Yeah, it's just one song called Pop Your Collar.
What does it sound like?
Hey,
He said, "Hey, lady,
pop your collar, don't let him sweat you. It's
pop your collar, don't let him sweat you."
It was like-
what era?
I mean,
Why are you doing that?
We was like trying to pop our collar. We was just trying to find something, you know. There was my guy Shakespeare. He, you know what I'm saying, he had an idea.
You was ready for a dance. Soulja Boy must be big at that time. I mean, this was your
No,
dance.
Soulja Boy wasn't nowhere. Anybody know who Soulja Boy was? Soulja Boy was. Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy?
Soulja Boy. No. Now at the time it was, you know, it was a huge dance video, and we were trying to manage to make, and it's huge over there. They love that song.
It's so interesting what is huge in other places.
Yeah.
Like, and it ain't your thing, but it's like the thing that they love. I was just about to say something that, when I was little, woo, let me say, my cousin and my sister, every time we was in the car, this was, I forget which album this was of yours, but it's when you were like, now tell me.
Nice and Slow.
Nice and Slow.
Yeah.
Okay? So every time, that was on the radio round the clock. When I tell you, every time you would get to, because I mean, I loved you, but when you said the freaky part, I was like, ew, gross. And every time my cousin and my sister would be pulling my hands off my ear, like, you need to listen.
You need to hear this. You need to hear this, girl.
I was like, oh my gosh, I freak you right out. I'm like, turn it off.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that made me think about that. Okay, let's do another question.
Okay. Truth.
Your truth, your confessions, Usher. Giving his confessions yet again. Oh, this is similar to what we were talking about just a second ago, but is there a song you passed on that became a hit for someone else?
Just a Friend. Mario's Just a Friend. Let me see.
I'm saying you just a friend.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm just a friend. What made you pass on it?
I don't know. I think it was just a matter of the sequencing of the record. It was a jamming record. Later on, they actually even released or either put out online my version of it. Yeah.
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 Okay. Do another one. I'm just having too much fun with you. Oh. I mean, I feel like this was... I asked this one, but I just feel like you don't even seem like the kind of person that gets embarrassed. It says, tell your most embarrassing moment on stage. Have you ever had... I mean, you was pulling your pants off on stage.
Yeah, I
feel like
mean, I don't really.
you don't get
yeah,
embarrassed.
I
That's
don't
fine.
really get embarrassed
That's
like
not
that.
Okay, hold on. This is interesting because you're a Libra, right?
Yeah.
What's the most diva thing you've done on tour?
The most diva thing I've
Like,
done
do you
on
have any
tour?
special requirements? Like, there's got to be 2 lemons, 1 tea. I need a trampoline. Like, do you have any crazy wild writers?
You know the thing about diva type behavior? I don't think the diva ever knows that they're being diva. So it just seems normal to me. It's not normal.
So I should ask your team.
Yeah, you might want to ask them because it just seems normal for me to have all of the things that you need to have for your voice, and like
This tells me that
Yeah.
everything is diva. Everything.
no, I mean, but I don't need the lights. See, I didn't tell you need the lights dimmed down at a certain level.
They actually did tell me that. They
They
actually told
did?
me that you wanted the
Well,
lighting
it's
to
a
be
little bit too
specific.
bright. I want to just tell you that. But also too, and I don't see any white flowers in here. This is a problem for me. Hey, you need to let it be known. See, I mean, it's so likely that you're gonna stumble into some bad lighting. You know what I'm saying?
That
So you
is
got to make certain that it's always right for you. Bro.
Funny.
But not red licorice in every kit that I have. I got to make certain of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Black cherry sodas, need to have them.
Black cherry sodas.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. White flowers.
Yo,
black
but I
cherry
just white flowers and it's chic. You know what I'm saying?
It's chic.
It's chic.
It's the hand is chic. All right, Usher. I guess I gotta let you go. This is so sad. I've had a blast with you. Ooh, this is the last one for real.
Okay.
I've been playing around. I was trying to trick you just then. How old were you when you had your first kiss? And who was it? That's a sweet one we'll end on.
How old was I when I had my first kiss? That I actually intended to have.
Now wait a minute.
There was a couple of,
Okay. Well, you know what? That one's stupid. It's out. Your favorite song ever that you've done. Your favorite song of yourself. And you can, if you want to pick one, your favorite one to sing.
I don't
or
remember
your
the girl's
favorite one
name,
to
by the
hear.
way. I'm trying to remember the
you
girl's
actually
name.
give it?
Yeah, I was trying to remember the
Shout her
girl's
out.
name.
She got 5 kids now.
Yeah, she do, right? Yeah, man.
He said, yes, she do.
Yeah, man. But I don't. Yeah, I
gotta find her
my
on
first.
Facebook.
I don't remember my first, but I do remember the song playing on the radio. It was "Secret Lovers," and it was playing on the radio.
Secret lovers,
Yeah, that's what we are. Trying so hard to find the way we feel.
yes.
But I don't remember her name.
Now that's gonna be a gift. The Secret Lovers.
The
with
question
me
you
and
should
right now.
ask is, was it with tongue? See?
Ooh.
Yeah,
Now I
I was-
feel the same as
Yeah, I was too young to even be thinking like that. Now I have a question for you because I've asked a lot of truths of you. I mean, you've asked a lot of truths of me. Can I ask the truth of you?
I would love this. Let's do
Okay,
it.
all right, cool. Truth of you, and I don't have it on the thing. Is it true that I am single-handedly the reason that you were having issues in your home?
Usher, you know that's not true.
I
You know
I'm
no
just
way.
saying.
You
Please
know.
tell them that. No.
The people was in your comments. They was like, yet again. They brought up that Boondocks episode.
Yeah, dude.
They brought it out.
They be on me.
I
I
do
am
love
not
that that's-
responsible for how you choose to react to what I do as an entertainer.
I do love that is. I mean, if there's like a thing that somebody would be known for is just being just bomb. Hey, I think that's a good one for you.
You
That's
came to
amazing.
have a good time that night.
I did.
And you
I
did.
did
You
have a
looked
good
fabulous.
time.
By the way, if you didn't wear what you wore, I wouldn't have seen you. You was fabulous, amazing. I was like, "Whoa, Keke, come here, girl. Hey, Keke, let's go. Come on, let's make a moment, baby."
Oh my gosh, let's make a moment. Y'all had that camera. I was like, I gotta gag him real quick. And the funny thing was, I even my little dance, I was like,
He's having fun.
I tried to do a
man.
little something.
Yeah. They try
Child,
to
that
make it
was-
seem like I single-handedly had something to do.
No,
with you.
guys,
Yeah.
it's not Usher. You know, people have problems. Relationships have up and downs.
People go through shit.
If Usher ends up being there, it's just a coincidence. But afterwards, I met Jennifer. I mean, it was such a nice night, honestly. You know, the things you guys don't see.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they seen this, and I'm glad you came to the show.
Man, I'm so happy that I got a chance to be able to see you in your glory. I love seeing you continue to glow and grow. Every time I see you, always like positive and always like full of incredible energy. You deserve this and so much more. Here's to Oscars to you. Here's to Golden Globes to you. Here's to whatever awards come with what we're doing here. I think that you are an incredible woman.
Can I have a hug?
Yeah, man. Come on.
Yeah, man. You always say yeah, man. All right, y'all, that's a wrap on today's episode. I loved every minute of the conversation. I mean, it seemed like Usher isn't just a smooth singer and dancer, but he's pretty smooth navigating life, too. I guess my takeaway is that you got to do what's best for you. Keep evolving and engaging in life the best ways you can, running into the hard stuff, as he so put it, because that's what's going to get you to the other side of creating something great. And I would say to also not be afraid to share, because you never know who you're helping in the process by sharing what you've been through or what you've experienced. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you next time, because you know it's your girl.
Baby,